Welcome back if you're a regular listener, and if you're new here, this is the 3994. It's named for our coordinates on the map, 39 North, 94 West. We gather weekly here at the Space Between on the Savannah Square. And today we're going to get to meet Jennifer Edwards. She's the director of the Sunshine Factory. You may have seen these buses around town and wondered, what is that? Well, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Before we get started, though, a couple of notes. I want to thank Bailey Ramsier and Sarah Hare. They are production extraordinaires, and so I want to say thank you to them today. I also want to thank our amazing sponsors. We're grateful for all of their support, and as always, the links are below in the show notes. It's the Bunker Club, United Fiber, Scooters Cafe, North Central Missouri College, Gina's Cafe and Catering, Greater Than Financial, The Space Between, Pancakes, Pups and Suds, and Edward Jones and Jason Sarsney. Also, we want to remind you to go vote for Savannah to be featured in the Small Town Showcase. This is a Missouri Humanities Project that's a statewide nonprofit organization that explores history, civics, and culture through community partnerships and public programming. We are in the final 16, the town of Savannah. So the goal is to get to the final 5. Voting closes on February 1st at 5 p.m., and you can vote as many times as you would like. A vote for Savannah means we are featured in a statewide podcast episode, and a short film will be made about our town. So go vote. All right, we're ready. Welcome, Jennifer. It is so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're someone who I've heard so much about, and once I met you in person, I knew exactly why I had heard so much about you.
That's very kind.
So I'm super excited to talk to you today. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure.
You grew up here.
I did. I have been in Andrew County my whole entire life. I grew up east of Savannah on a farm. I'm a farm kid, married my high school sweetheart, and my kids, we had 2 children, and they attended North Andrew School District. But my real love right now is I have 5 grandkids. The 5th one's due in May, but I'm like over the top about them. Do you want to hear about them?
I know. Well, it's so funny because ever since you became a grandma, we met, we started talking, and they really are like the highlight of your life.
Oh my gosh.
Which is so sweet because I think, when I get older, that's what I hope is the highlight of my life. Are these little sweet baby faces, getting to spend so much time with them.
Yes.
And when we're younger, we think, our immediate family, our career, what's happening in our lives, You don't ever think about this point.
Yeah.
But you are truly loving it.
I am loving it. I'm so fortunate because 2 of them, almost 3 of them, live here in town, and then the other 2 just live an hour and a half away. So I'm really fortunate that I get to be hands-on because my grandparents were hands-on with me. So I have had a great example of what that looks like. And I think that's what Andrew County is all about too, is that whole embracing your family and meeting your neighbor, and I'm living it. I'm loving it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And so you have been the executive director, really, of the Sunshine Factory.
I have, and I say that so funny because I'm the only person in the office. So basically what I am is I'm a glorified secretary that honestly, it is that because I am connecting families to resources, and I'm the liaison between the board and the families. So I say that there's no one else in my office, Jodie. Like, it's just me. But
if you knew what a blessing you were to families like ours, then you wouldn't say that. You're on call. You drove the bus the other day. So let's explain to people.
I drove the van. They won't let me drive the bus because it beeps when it backs up, and that's not something that I'm qualified for. But I did drive the van.
Well, we have to explain to people, if they don't know, what the Sunshine Factory is. So can you describe the organization and who it serves? Because I think we need to start there. Because when we started talking about it, I was like, oh, this is the SB40 board.
Right.
And when I say SB40 board to people outside of this room, they don't know what that is even.
True.
So educate us.
Sure. So we are the SB40 board. It was voted on and started in 1996 in Andrew County. Nobody knew. And SB40 is not like a catchy name.
Right.
So the board came up with the Sunshine Factory. So it's been the Sunshine Factory ever since.
But it stands for Senate Bill 40.
It does.
Which was what was passed was to support, is it children and adults with disabilities who live in the county?
Developmentally disabled people.
Children
in general.
and adults.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And we serve a wide variety of age groups in that, and have through the years.
And it's a county tax.
It is a county tax. It's a mill tax. And so on your tax sheets, it says Senate Bill 40, if you'll look. A lot of people don't even know that it's on there. But we're a mill tax, and so we generate all of our income to support people with developmental disabilities from tax money here in Andrew County. So we are a part of the county government, an entity of that. And so that is a huge responsibility for us to make sure that we're reaching people with developmental disabilities and helping them. And so that started in 1996. A group of parents really pushed for that. And where would we be without the trailblazing parents? The intention of that was to go and help fund sheltered workshops. And we don't have one here in Andrew County. So we do operate a little differently than other county boards that are Senate Bill 40 boards across the state.
Okay.
We don't have any services here in our county. So transportation was a huge piece of that. Like, how do we get our clients to be able, we want to enhance their daily life. Mm-hmm. That's really part of our mission statement. That's been, we want to help families. And because we're rural, I mean, there's so many wonderful things about Andrew County, but we are rural. Mm-hmm. And services here are limited. And so transportation, I believe, in the very beginning was in the back of their minds. We did start that in 1997 or 98 is when we started the transportation. I came on board in 97. And so what that money has generated has allowed for us to take Andrew County residents to UCP, to the sheltered workshop, or to other places of employment. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a sheltered workshop that we fund, but we fund getting individuals to the sheltered workshop, to the places of employment, to the day hab facilities like UCP.
And you and I have talked privately about this because we have a child that has autism. He's no longer a child. He's 23. Mm-hmm. And we knew as, parents in Andrew County that there would come a time when Logan graduated from high school that we would have to make a decision about, what are we doing? What direction are we going in?
Which is scary.
It was probably upcoming, that scariest milestone, if you could say that, the anticipation of that. You do everything to prepare for that. Mm-hmm. But you and I have talked about how, there's a lot of needs with families and individuals, but what the board decided was transportation by far was going to be the biggest need. Yeah. And so the buses, the van came into being. Mm-hmm. And so what led you to get involved with this mission? Like, where were you in your life when you decided to step into that role?
So it's an interesting thing because it's a God story. I had no intention of that. I had a family that came to me and said, hey, we're needing somebody to do some billing, do some paperwork, some book work, and I was at home with my kids. So I stepped into that role. So this has been a progressive role for me. And probably a different path than what I even set out to even do. And I love it. I feel like it's just been such a big, huge blessing for me because I love to be able to help people. Yeah. And so how did I get involved? I really don't know. Other than a family came and said to me, would you be interested in this? We think that you would be a good liaison. So I did it.
And you were at home with the kiddos. Mm-hmm. What were you planning to do? Were you planning to be a stay-at-home mom and just do something on the side?
Yes.
Yeah. And you got it.
Absolutely.
You got
it. Absolutely. So I just jumped in. That's kind of how I do things. So I did, and here I am 27 years later. It's just been such a blessing for me.
When that beautiful decal went up on the side of the van or the bus, was that a moment for you?
I was just so new to all of this. I think looking back now, I think that board had such a vision for what the needs were. We had put out a needs assessment. We knew transportation was huge.
Well, I understand at one point you had up to 3 buses.
We did. And we had 3 different routes. as a lot of things changed when COVID came in, some people chose not to go back to work. So we went down, we currently are doing 2 routes, both to St. Joe. We used to go to Stanberry every day to the workshop up there as well. So we're full on, full time, and we just recently, in the last couple of years, dropped down to the 2 routes. But
what's interesting about that, not to interrupt your train of thought, but COVID affected a lot of things. And to think that you were at 3 buses, COVID happens, and these adults with autism or special needs, any kind of special need, they decide to stay home. And then here we are. How many years? Has it been 6 years later?
Yeah.
And those adults are not back to work. They're not calling for that resource. So you have to wonder, what are they doing? Do they feel like they have purpose every day? Do they feel like they...
Think about that a lot.
Yeah. Because you know those names.
I do.
These are not people that don't have names and faces. I was looking at a list last night. I have a list of like potential friends of Logan's that we've tried to get into kind of a social group. And then I have now a list of faces that are on the bus.
Love that.
You bring those 2 lists together, and that's about 12 adults who are much like our Logan and who would thrive with friendships and socialization and being a part of. And so for you, I can't imagine some of the adventures you've had.
I think that has been the beautiful part of this story for me. It's personal because I've been in Andrew County my whole life. A lot of these families I have interactions with besides just at work. I'm invested, they're invested. We're neighbors, we're friends. These concerns that you and I have talked about, these are not new concerns. I've been listening to parents for 27 years, and I love when we can get a solution to a concern for a family. Like, that's when hey, we're on the right path here. Transportation was that in the very beginning. People needing to know, how are we going to get them there? Not only what is the plan, but how are we going to get them there every day?
Because there's not an option in Andrew County, but at that point there was an option in Stanberry and there was an option in Buchanan County.
Correct.
And I guess something that people don't realize is it's not super easy to take someone who has special needs and plop them in an everyday job, whether it be in Andrew County or Buchanan County.
Right.
There's a lot of things that people don't think about. The social engagement.
Yeah.
Will they fit in? Will they be able to use Voc Rehab in a way that, a state resource that allows them to train properly? And then will those skills be retained? And if they're not checked up on every day, will they be able to, complete the list? And so for parents, we have all those things, thinking about them.
And the other piece of that is this, partnering, our drivers, I have the best staff around. And we're a team. But to get that piece fit in, because this is their social hour. When they're on the van or the bus, I'm telling you, that is their friend group. It is so much bigger than a transportation route. And when we understood that is when we're like, hey, we're meeting the need. We're doing what we need to be doing. And we're evolving in that now too, because we are understanding now that in addition to the transportation, we need to provide some social, which is what you brought to the table. And so we have some wonderful things in the works for 2026 that we've never done as a board. And a lot of that is initiative because parents are saying, hey, this is our needs. This is what we're needing. And we're trying to meet those needs. I'm really excited about what we're going to do this year.
Girl, we're going to both end up in tears here today. So, Jennifer and I are both super emotional people. And so when we talk about these kids and these adults, it makes me emotional. But one of the things I want to ask you is about those trailblazing parents.
Yeah.
Because I want people to understand that these were families who had a need and realized that Senate Bill 40 was an option and decided to put gasoline on the path and just light the flame and blaze that trail. So tell me about those families. Tell me about those base the foundation and how it was laid. I want to hear about them.
Okay. Well, that's a really fun part of the story because I've got to watch that up close and personal. And parents that I have watched that have been such an example. I have been under, Mary Ringett was the chairperson of the Senate Bill 40 board for quite a few years. And what a wonderful woman. And if you know Mary Ringett, and if you know Chris Ringett, which in Andrew County, everyone knows Chris Ringett because he was just a star athlete with Special Olympics and just, I mean, a together kind of guy. But what a trailblazer she was, and for him. And he is probably one of the most interesting, fun stories. I love to talk about Chris just because he is living independently. He's married. He's held a job at Children's Mercy and received so many awards down there. And like he's an Andrew County guy, you know, and I love that. Susan Garrison, I just watched her trailblaze for Brett, and it makes me, I just think of, I know the struggle because we were friends behind the scenes. So I knew what she was doing, and I knew what she was doing was not only benefiting Brett, but it was benefiting others. Janet Crowder, Sherry Spader, Bill and Judy Myers. Oh my goodness. Like Bob and Bertha Caldwell. I've watched all of these, and there's more than I'm mentioning right now. I'm thinking of the ones that have served on the board. Cindy Way. Oh my goodness. You know, that they saw the need that they had for their individual family, but then that propelled them to go forward, and it blessed it, like the cup was overflowing to other people. I've watched it over and over and over again. So many families. It's a blessing to be able to watch that because you see the passion behind it, you see the purpose, and then you see, oh my goodness, it's benefiting so many other people. It's beautiful.
So serving adults with special needs as well as children, I know a lot of the children have the support of their school districts, which is so helpful. The needs that you guys meet for the little ones, what's that like?
So I will say that the funding is open for anyone in the age groups. I will say probably 98% of what we have are those adults that are transitioning out of high school, out of the public school system, out of Helen Davis, into what are they going to do? Like, for their adult life? Like, where are we going to look at places of employment? We actually started a transition fair, so it's for parents that are going to be, their loved one is going to be leaving the school district and transitioning to new opportunities. And whether that be a place of employment or UCP or a day hab or workshop or whatever that may be for them, we want to ease that concern a little bit.
So can you share a story with us that illustrates how the Sunshine Factory has made a difference in someone's life?
Yeah, I have a million of them. I've been there 27 years, so I cannot tell you. Like, first of all, we serve amazing families and thoughtful families. And I constantly get little notes of thanks in the mail, and it propels you forward because I received one, and this family no longer lives in our county, but it makes me so weepy because we had met that need of, she was so concerned about her daughter, and because she was a single mom, and she didn't know how they were going to even be able to like transport. She had such a desire to help her daughter. Like, that is, like, don't we resonate with that as mothers, as parents? And because we were able to go door-to-door service with our transportation, her daughter was able to go to the next step. And she had the confidence in us to be able to put her daughter on that bus, know that we were going to take great care of her, and that she was going to get to where she needed to be. Those are the reasons of the why. Because if they didn't have us, like, the transportation is such a huge piece of what we do. We have such a responsibility but it's also such a blessing because we know that if we didn't transport them or provide a funding source for them, that maybe that next step wouldn't happen for them. And that's just too much of a burden to bear. So, yeah, I have a lot of those that are just individual stories of knowing that we have stewarded our tax money well to meet the needs of the clients that we are responsible for within our county.
You know, we all complain about paying taxes. That property tax bill, man, when you get that and you have to pay it right around Christmas time, that's hard. But then if you look closely and you see the resources that money is going to, that really, that makes a difference.
Sure does.
In families like that family, you know.
I can tell you right now that that is not wasted on me. I also hate paying taxes, but I also know when they're stewarded well, what can come from that and the benefit of that. And I can tell you right now, we take that very seriously. The board that we have takes that very seriously, and we're going to meet the needs that we can with the monies that we are responsible for.
Well, I know that there's been many of these moments, but I want to ask you if you've had a moment where you had to stop, laugh, and think, well, this definitely wasn't in the job description today.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, I'm probably driving the van. I'm the bookwork girl. The driving of the van, and I got tickled. I got to drive it last week, and I always actually do love doing it because it had been quite a while since I had done it. But Simon got on the bus and he was like, "Oh boy, we all better buckle up." And I thought, oh, honey, you have no idea. And I just thought that was so funny because I thought if you would have told me in the very beginning, hey, you're going to probably have to fill in as a van driver every now and again, I'd be like, no, this is not my thing, but I love it.
So tell me what you have on tap. What should we be looking out for and how can we support?
Okay. So one of the things that's in the works right now, which is long overdue, is we're getting a new website. So it's going to be sunshinefactory.org. That should roll out the end of February. Our goal in that is to link some resources for parents that would be helpful. So, and for you to see the faces of those people that are willing to and stepping up to serve you on the board. So the pictures of the board members will be on there too.
One thing that you and I have talked about is how there's so many resources out there for families, but so difficult to figure out if one is coming or going here, there, what county, everywhere, and they all have different names, and it can be a lot for young families to try to navigate. So it sounds like this website's going to be a super big blessing.
I hope that's our intention. You know, when you and I had talked this past summer, we had talked about that you didn't even realize at the time the Sunshine Factory was the Senate Bill 40 board. Well, you know, we need to know that. Hey, we need to communicate what we are, and who we are wanting to serve. So we're kind of hoping that this website will help people educate who we are, and then also link sources of funding or services that you can take advantage of that maybe aren't here in Andrew County, but we can get you to where you need to go. So that's kind of what the purpose of our website is going to be. But also we're going to add in some social events. And that was something that was so exciting that I think came from our conversation. And then on top of that, we were so, there's a group of us that are meeting from the Senate Bill 40 boards from just Northwest Missouri. Because our needs here in Northwest Missouri are different or can be different from across the state or in the southern part of the state. And so we have been putting like-minded people together, and I am learning so much from that. I'm so excited. So we have some social events. Our goal right now for 2026 is to do them quarterly and then maybe add on to that. So we've got some fun things that are new to our board that I think will benefit and bless those families that we're trying to serve.
I love that. You know, I think back to the families that started working on Senate Bill 40 here in Andrew County and how, you know, and even starting a social group just kind of on our own at the library, you know, that was the grassroots that took place way back when. And what's exciting for me is to see, man, you know what? I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to try to gather a group of parents and do it by myself at the library or at Pizza Shop.
Right.
We can actually have this team behind us that helps the parents do that. Because, we have a handful of parents who we attempt to get them together, and it's not easy. And so to have that structure behind, I think, is really going to be helpful. So I'm super excited.
And one of the things that I think is nothing could be truer is that we can host all of these speakers that come in and all of these people, but parents gathering in a room with a cup of coffee or whatever that may be, you learn a lot from another parent, and you're encouraged by them.
Yes.
And so
it's a little support group.
Yes.
Our kids are socializing and we are brainstorming, and
Absolutely.
It is a powerful thing. One thing I want to say too, and I know that you can understand this and appreciate this, when you are a young family and you receive a diagnosis, whatever it may be,
right,
you don't know anything about that diagnosis. You immediately start kind of researching and figuring out, and all of a sudden, all of the resources start popping up. But it can be a very overwhelming place to be. And we are very blessed in Savannah, the Savannah School District, to have a wonderful special education department, a team that, we moved here for the special education department of this district. And so now that our son is 23, we've been through it all with the resources and the opportunities. And as a young family, that can feel so overwhelming, but what a wonderful opportunity to have one website where they can just click on it and it links to everything. You can have some direction.
And it's going to be evolving because I think it's very confusing too, because so many things are abbreviated or they're like, what is that?
Nottoway County Services. We take advantage of Nottoway County Services. Well, that is not even in, I don't live in Nottoway County. Why do I need your services? Well, that links you to the state. I mean, because it is a roadmap of confusion.
It is. And that's what we're wanting to ease that.
Yeah.
We want the communication to be clear.
Yeah.
We want, so that's all part of what we're going to try to roll out and help. So you'll have to help us along the way. We rely a lot on our parents to be able to tell us, hey, this is where this is what we're having concerns about, or this is what we're needing. And
it's such a great example of all of us working together to help and make something happen.
Andrew County is great at that. Yeah, for sure. I will tell you that we have a 9-person board that has the utmost respect for our clients and for our families, and it's their desire to serve our community well. Andrew County is a great place to live, and we want to be a reason that people say Andrew County is a great place to live. So we're really working behind the scenes, and if you have any suggestions, we're open. I think that what the beautiful part of our board is that they listen, and we are listening, and we are trying to meet those needs of those special families that we get to be a part of their lives.
Unique individuals, very unique needs. And I just appreciate you so much for standing in the gap.
You know what, Jodie, it's an absolute privilege, and it's because of parents like you that make this job just so meaningful, because we're in this together. You're not alone.
All right, Jennifer, thank you for being with us today.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of the 3994. Until next time.